I recently took a road trip with a few of my friends, for really no other reason than to get away from home and take some photos along the way. I documented as much of this trip as possible, and I'd like to share with you my road trip experience from mostly a first-person view. This journey was divided into 3 parts: a night at Joshua Tree, 2 nights at the Grand Canyon, and then capping it off with 2 nights at Las Vegas. For gear, I brought the Minolta X-700 with the 28mm lens, and also the long weekend camera, along with 6 rolls of film. My co-pilots were none other than Art, someone who was literally on my MySpace top 8 when that was the thing.
What up, dog?
Justin, my passenger princess during this trip, who graciously let us use a Subaru.
Thanks.
The chef! And Luis, another longtime friend who I've recently rekindled with through a few wins and mostly losses in Call of Duty Warzone. After picking up Luis, we were stuck in some pretty gnarly LA traffic. That commuting back home on a Friday afternoon kind of traffic. I was getting a little antsy, so I fired off a few shots using the long weekend camera with Portra 800 loaded. As soon as we got out of the gridlock and into the desert, we got hit with a small shower and some incredible sun rays. And this is what I sounded like after 12 hours of straight driving.
Bro, that looks crazy!
I handed the long weekend camera over to Justin, who was sitting in shotgun, and he captured a couple of these shots.
Bartender over here.
He's just grabbing blankets.
We finally made it to our Airbnb in Joshua Tree, and pretty much just chilled that night since this is just a one-night stop along the way to the Grand Canyon. We stargazed, busted out the big-ass Uno, and called it a night.
It looks so ridiculous. Oh, we got it.
Did I take mushrooms at all? Did I even take mushrooms? I just lost it. I lost it all. Yes.
The next morning, we woke up early and did a lap around this neighborhood we were staying at. And then we were back on the road, headed over to the Grand Canyon.
Okay, I'm pretty sure people are like camping down there.
Oh, probably.
Why would I do that?
A lot happened during this drive, starting off with some severe car sickness. And I'm not going to say who, but it was someone in this photo. It was in everyone's best interest if we pulled over, and we did so in this corridor, not too far from the Arizona border. About 200 miles and a bag of puke later, we stopped by this diner in Kingman, Arizona.
And then you're like, somebody's like laying down, just sitting over there.
I didn't sign up for this. As we got closer to the Grand Canyon, roughly about 2 hours away now, we exited to fuel up at this snow-covered gas station.
Still knuckle dragging like it ain't no thing. Oh, I see.
It's snowing, dude.
It must be pretty obvious when Californians visit a place with snow just because we react like this.
What the
And like this. And like this. I think the last time I saw snow was in Reno back in 2015, so of course I was obligated to throw a snowball. And while I have seen snow before, I don't think I've ever seen scratchers being sold at a urinal. Where are we?
Okay.
Alright. I've been to the Grand Canyon once when I was too young to appreciate it. Probably back when I was about 11 or so. But even then, I remember looking out into the canyon and not really believing how big it was. And that really hasn't changed. Even on this trip, I looked out and my brain has to try and process how this can all even be. These next two shots of the canyon came out pleasant. Much of the midground is lit up, and the deeper valley leads your eyes into the furthest point where the snow top meets the clouds.
Or maybe they're like guided tours.
So, the long weekend camera didn't make it past this point. The film advance wheel wouldn't advance. After a few failed attempts of debugging, I was just left with these double exposures. There's no shortage of spectacular views along this trail. You kind of just want to keep going to see what's on the other side of that giant ridge blocking your view. And when you do, you're met with more breathtaking canyons that you can't wrap your head around. And it just goes on until what appears to be infinity. Luis and I were just casually talking about falling to our deaths. You know, bro talk. We accidentally stumbled upon this church not too far from the trail. We took a small break here, and I switched out the Cinestill 400D to 800T. At the end of our hike, we took the shuttle back to where we parked. We got really lucky here with the timing of getting back to our car because it started to really snow. Also, we kinda knew when we weren't welcome anymore, and so this is our cue to leave. We're now on our last leg of the trip to Las Vegas. Most of our trip so far was either cold, rainy, or snowy, so we were about ready for a little sunshine, and we got just that here at the Hoover Dam. We took the pedestrian walkway that overviews the dam, and some of us were not too stoked for being this high up. Here's the Hoover Dam on Cinestill 800T.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so big.
It is pretty big. Huh?
In front of us? So along the way to Vegas on Highway 93, we picked up a hitchhiker off the side of the freeway. He was a super chill dude, so we let him stay in our hotel. Alright, just kidding. I would never do that, but this is Anthony, Art's brother. He had the itinerary, so we spawned into our road trip at Vegas. That night, we mainly just hung around Fremont Street and hit up a few dive bars in the area. And then we invited this guy to our room. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't really consider myself a huge Vegas person, but I also wouldn't pass up the chance to take night photos of some retro signs. It was our last day of the trip, and we just took it fairly easy. We went to the Punk Rock Museum in the morning, and Art and Luis stayed there for a bit longer to get matching koi fish tattoos, or whatever. So Justin, Anthony, and I hit up the art district. We met back up later and went to this Korean barbecue spot in Chinatown.
We're just trying to make sure that they're not layered, like so that they're like individually like on the grill. They'll just
After dinner, we walked up and down the strip, hotel hopped, and watched the water show at the Bellagio. And just like that, 5 nights of travel were done, and we're on the road back to home, and back to our normal lives. I know this may sound crazy, but I was in the driver's seat during this whole trip, all 1100 plus miles. And surprisingly, when I got home, rather than feeling dead tired, I felt somewhat energized. A trip that existed in my head for so long, it all just fell into place. It's not to say that there weren't any lulls and quiet moments when the drive felt long, yet somehow our road trip playlist would hit the right song, and everybody in the car would come to life.
God!